Welcome to Blue Collar Sports Talk. Let's talk sports. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Blue Collar Sports Talk. Here's what we're going to talk about today. Husker men are on the road to Maryland. Husker women travel to a very tough Iowa Hawkeyes team. We have to discuss NFL playoffs. Chiefs are at the Ravens. Lions are at the 49ers. We have to. It's required by law. We have to discuss some new NFL coaches. Also required by law, we have to discuss what the heck is going on in Milwaukee. Oh my gosh. The Cavs go into Milwaukee to play them on Friday night. The Clippers head to Boston on Saturday. With back-to-back home games, what will the Bucks do when the Pelicans come into town? That's a Saturday night game we'll take a look at. An amazing matchup on Saturday has Joel Embiid and his 76ers traveling to Denver to clash with the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. That is a must-watch game. And now, here's our show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Blue Collar Sports Talk. A lovely Friday morning, and we're going to jump into Husker stuff. We have the Husker men Saturday on the road to Maryland. And honestly, I personally am stoked that the Husker season has started off as strong as it has. They're coming off a strong win against Ohio State. And during that game, Reineke Mast just went off. He had a career high night. I believe it was like 34 in that 83-69 win over Ohio State. And it's not just him. It's not just one guy. I mean, everybody's contributing.
Yeah, and Mast is the one that I think in the big games, especially on the road, which obviously Nebraska hasn't won on the road yet this year, right? They need him to somehow wake up on the road. He's almost virtually a no-show on the road, and it drives me nuts. I think the kid's got good skills, good, strong presence in the middle, but, man, he's the road. They got to win on the road sometime, at least once.
Yeah, I would like that.
And you got Maryland. You're going into Maryland. Don't let the record fool them. Maryland's really good. Nebraska's Purdue win is going to be nice, but if it comes down to the bubble and the committee's looking at Nebraska and a couple other teams and Nebraska doesn't have a road victory, you can't live off the Purdue win and say you have to put us in the tournament.
We did win on the road against Kansas State.
Okay, my bad. I missed that one then.
No, it's all good. I wanted to run through here, and I was like, I think we did, but you're right. Lost on the road to Rutgers, lost on the road to Iowa, lost on the road to Wisconsin, lost on the road to Rutgers. I already said that twice because I work for the Department of Redundancy Department. Yeah, and coming off of home wins Northwestern, home wins Ohio State. You're right. We have to do something to get it going because Wilcher can do it, Bryce Williams can do it, Tom Amiga can do it, even the guys off the bench. Just great. But you're right, 100%. They need to do it on the road.
Yeah, and Nebraska fans, as we've watched Nebraska basketball the last 7-8 years, no matter who the coach has been or who was, this offense looks great. I mean, they move the ball, they score. There's a lot of in and out. I like it's almost enjoyable to watch them. The road makes it a little tougher because they don't do as well. But the home court, when you're going to these games, and I just saw that the Michigan game is sold out. I know that's in February, but the upcoming Michigan game is sold out. That's huge for the men. The women's Iowa game is completely sold out, so that's awesome. Would expect it, of course.
Yeah, and I haven't sought out an exact odd, a line for this Maryland game, but the ESPN predictor, since it is a road game, they have Maryland favored. And again, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we have everything we need to do. We have the points per game is in our favor. Maryland might have a little bit better defense. They are holding people to 64 points a game. We shoot a little bit better percentage-wise behind the arc as well a little bit. But dude, you gotta get it together on the road.
Yeah, and Maryland's defense, I was averaging 90-some plus points at home. 93, I think it was, something in that range, and they held them to 67. So, yeah, Maryland's defense will get after it, force some turnovers. So, yeah, man, just come in, start strong, and finish strong.
Yeah, and Maryland did that on the road. We couldn't do it at Iowa,
no,
but Maryland did.
Yeah.
So I hope that our team does whatever it needs to do, gets that extra hour of sleep or what it is. Whatever they need to figure out on the road that they did in Kansas State, please do it. Saturday morning at 11. It is on Big Ten Network. Just one beef that I have with the Big Ten Network. Nebraska had a great game, and it was on Peacock. And I was like, oh, okay, so maybe it'll be on the replay on Big Ten Network. Nope, they went with Minnesota. Which, okay, fine. You're going to get more viewers probably with more people living in the state of Minnesota and in a metro area of Minneapolis, but that's my only knock. But if you do have Big Ten Plus, you can watch replays, but you're already paying for a Big Ten Network on your Dish or Direct or YouTube or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's my beef with TVs and stuff.
I agree with you. It drives me nuts.
The women are also on the road. They're going to face the number 5 Iowa Hawkeyes led by Caitlin Clark. She is leading the NCAA with her 31.7 points a game. Ranked second nationally with 7 assists, 7.7, I'm sorry, almost 8.
Yeah.
Almost 8 rebounds a game and almost 2 steals a game. Her overall career points is at 3,351. 952 career assists, and she has 42 points from Missouri State legend Jackie Stiles is number 3 on the NCAA scoring list.
Yeah, I say she's in the top 5 now.
I can't say enough good things about Caitlin Clark, but they're coming off a loss. It can be done. We can beat them, but we haven't yet.
And I love Ohio State's formula. Let Caitlin put in 40-plus that game on that loss to Ohio State. To me, that's if Nebraska has a chance in this game, you let Caitlin get hers. Let her score 45. Let her score 50. If you take out the other players, force them to turn it over, force them to take bad shots and not give her those 7, 8, 9 assists also on top of her 40, I think you have a huge chance in the game because Nebraska's going to score 75, 80 points. As long as you don't let Caitlin Clark score 60, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up that Ohio State-Iowa game, and they did have 2 other players in double figures.
Yep.
But one had 10 points only.
Right.
And the other one had 14. And everybody else was in single digits.
Yeah.
So Caitlin had 45 of the 92 points.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If Nebraska take that same formula, shut down everyone else. If they concentrate so hard on double teaming and trying to get it out of her hands, those other guys are going to make the shots. Other girls are going to make those shots like they've been doing.
Right.
You make Caitlin do all the work and put all of it in there. It just could work.
It could. They did. Iowa demolished Wisconsin, their last game. Caitlin Clark had 32 points, and they went on to an easy win, 96-50.
Held them to 50.
Right. That was crazy. But we have a great team. Yeah, it's young. Alexis Markowski is, again, a double-double machine. But so is 5-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week, Natalie Potts. She's had her 3rd double-double of the season with a game-high 13 points and 10 rebounds against Michigan. That was January 17th. The 6'2 freshman, she is from Missouri and ranks among Big Ten freshman leaders in scoring, about 11 points a game. So, I mean, we can get it together. Natalie Potts, Jazz Shelley, Callan Hake, even the people off the bench, Moriarty. The thing is, though, like you say, if we can clamp down on everybody else, let Caitlin Clark do her thing, and shut everybody else down, we have a chance.
Yeah. I would play, the box and one, put everybody else in there, put one person on. Hey, if she gets by you, let her get by you. Don't foul her, don't do the reach thing, right? Just play good, hard defense on her, make her run that clock down. And on the flip side, Nebraska kind of run the offense, run it, slow it down a little bit, and don't let no one get in a groove but you.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the bad side. Nebraska is 0-7 against Iowa. 0-7. In our 7 career games, 0-7. I would like to see us improve to 1-7.
Right.
And I know every single girl on that squad. And I know Amy Williams has been there 8 years, and I know she would love to notch one. But I'm also realistic.
Yeah, it's on the road, right? It's at Iowa. The crowd's going to be nuts, especially playing Nebraska.
But I'm still going to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Big Ten Network, 1 p.m. Saturday. Huskers, you need to get it done. I know you can. I've got all the faith in the world that you can definitely at least keep it close.
Well, yeah, and even Nebraska wins, they won't have to storm the floor, and she won't have to get knocked over again.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was an amazing acting job.
Oh, goodness.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
There's no need for that amount of theatrics. Like, oh, yeah, you got bumped into. Get over it. Right. You are an athlete, and you've played this game for X amount of years in your life. You understand the drama that comes with winning. You're going to have kids and their fans, and they're going to have fun and the win, and especially in the face of knocking off, I think at that time, number 2.
Yes.
They were ranked. I mean, they've always slipped to 5, but
right.
Yeah,
you
have over it.
Yes, if you're a top 5 team playing a low to no ranked team, you're going to lose. You can see the scoreboard, you see the clock ticking. You know they're going to storm the floor. You just assume it's going to happen. But yeah, you get hit harder than that going through the lane and to fall like a sack of potatoes. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah.
This should be an interesting matchup, though. Iowa averages almost 91 points a game, and we're holding people to about 61 points a game. So that being said, the Hawkeyes are also 18-0 when they at least score 61 points.
The goal is 59. Got it.
Yeah. We're going to move over to the world of NFL. And what do you want to do? Do you want to do the coaches first, or do you want to do the playoff games first?
Let's go and get the playoff games so we give them their due, because the coaches might go a little long, and might have to cut that short. All
right. Go ahead and start.
I love the matchups. Obviously, it sucks the Cowboys aren't in there. I had to get that little plug. But the 4 teams left, playing great, amazing football all the way through the end. It's funny how the Chiefs, again, are here, right? Again, in the AFC Championship, week 14, 15, the talk was no receiver. They can't get it done. They're so out of whack. The Taylor Swift distractions. Is anyone going to do anything for the Chiefs? And oh, by the way, all Patrick has done is put him on his back and carried him again to the AFC Championship game.
If I had a spare $1 million, I would have bet on the Bills.
Fact. All my talk was Buffalo's in the groove, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen had a great game before. It's finally at Buffalo, right? Where they get the game at their home. They get the Bills Mafia, supposed to be all loud and proud. And they didn't get it done. The Chiefs made the right plays. The Bills dropped the passes this time instead of the Chiefs. So here they go into Baltimore. I don't have a pick on either one. I think both sides. Lamar right now is the guy that we got to see. Can he prove in the big game? Can he make it? Because history shows he has not, Granted, he's got a couple wins this year, which is better than he's had before. First AFC Championship game for him, and it's at home, so huge for him.
Okay, at home. Right.
Yes.
Bills at home, favored. Ravens at home, favored.
Yes.
I don't want to go against the Ravens because everything says, just like the Buffalo Bills, that, hey, the Bills are going to come in and they're going to knock you right in the head and they're going to put you on your butt and the Bills are going to walk away with a win. No, right. That didn't happen.
No.
Now, granted, the kicker for the Bills could have sent it to overtime. It didn't happen. Could have, should have, would have. Didn't happen. But Chiefs and the Ravens, everything that I see, including the odds makers say the Ravens are going to get this 4-point favorite. What was it? Overs at 44.5. But the Ravens defense, and then you match that up with everything that Lamar Jackson can do. If every single receiver is covered, well, and if they're 10 yards down the field,
he gets 20.
Right. Lamar can outrun every single almost linebacker, outrun every single defensive end and tackle, unless they get a lucky little swipe at him and knocks him off balance. Yep. Like you say, 20. What is he averaging for rush? Okay, so he is not only the leading passer on his team, but he's the leading rusher on his team.
Yep.
148 carries for 821 yards. That's a pretty darn good average for a quarterback.
Yeah. And, Baltimore lost both their starting running backs early in the season, and they've been trying to pick guys here and there and find a solid running game. But it always going to be Lamar, right? As far as, like you said, you play that zone, keep everybody in front of you, and then he's just going to scoot on up. And, 3 steps, and you're like, oh, my gosh, he just went 15 yards.
Being a Bronco fan, the Ravens did something really perplexing. I can't talk. Did something really odd during the offseason, and they picked up the fumble machine that the Broncos had that they cut, Melvin Gordon, former great
San Diego Charger.
Yeah, and also former great Wisconsin guy.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yep.
So the guy's done it great, and everybody, I think, that talks any football has said, oh, gosh, if you could get together with the barber, was it Tiki or Rondé, the running back that had all the fun? Tiki. Okay, Tiki had all the fumble issues, and then he figured it out late in his career just to continue his career. Melvin Gordon, you're a great runner. But, man, you got to figure that out. Long tangent, but the Ravens picked him up, recently cut him because who was available? Dalvin Cook.
Right.
So now, not only do you have a great runner in Lamar Jackson, you have a guy in Dalvin Cook who does fumble every now and again. I'm not saying he doesn't, because he does, and I think that's why Minnesota got rid of him, but he can also catch it. So if you have that easy little target out of the backfield that maybe got one block and then things just collapsed on you, dude, that is a tough double-edged sword runner pass catch option with your passing quarterback that's also a great running quarterback, and then all the other receivers that you have.
And Cook is fresh, right? He didn't run that much at the Jets. He's been sitting a lot. These are fresh legs coming into the playoffs. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they lean on that more, keep Mahomes on the sideline, and not that they're going to run Lamar a lot, but give Dalvin 20 carries at least, right? At least 18 to 20 carries. I would like to see that 25 to 27. I'm not going against Kansas City per se because it's Kansas City. I just don't want another Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I want somebody different. So I would love the Baltimore to go ahead and handle it. I just don't, it's like Dak. Until you do it, I don't know you can do it. So Lamar, until you win that big one. Last week was nice, but it was the Houston Texans, a rookie quarterback, a rookie coach, a young team. You had them at home. They had you 10-10 at halftime. Made the right adjustments, came out second half.
Now, you said lean on Dalvin Cook. I don't know if they will or not, but that's a great idea because the guy that we haven't mentioned yet, even though Lamar Jackson is their leading rusher with 821 yards, Gus Edwards has 810 yards on 198 carries with a 4.1 average. Yeah, Lamar averages close to 6 yards, but that's a different setup.
Oh, yeah, definitely different.
Different setup. So to have a running back that averages a little over 4 yards a carry is also amazing. So what I'm trying to say, 1, Chiefs have their work cut out for him. 2, Chiefs have done it on the road this season. 3, you can't count out Mahomes. 4, you can't count out Lamar. But if you look at the history, you can because they kind of choke it up a little bit in the playoffs. So this is a 50-50 ball for me.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if this could end in a tie, I wouldn't be surprised, but I know it can't.
Well, I mean, go back. Lamar Jackson's MVP year. He lost in the first round of the Texans, right? So that's where I'm getting at, people. If you guys know and you follow the football, it's nothing against Lamar. It could be a whole team thing. I don't know. But all I know is when it comes down to this Baltimore team, since they were in the Super Bowl in, 2016 against his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Where has Baltimore been? That's all I'm saying. So they got to make this win. And like Lamar said, you're not the champ until you beat it. And the AFC champs numerous years have been who? So here they are at your home. You get them at home.
Yeah.
Now's the time. If you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs and put a feather in your hat, take it at home.
So this has to do with the Chiefs, and yet it doesn't. I have read some amazing, crazy theories this week on where coaches are going to end up. And the craziest headline and first couple lines of the story that I read has to deal with the Chiefs, Andy Reid, and Bill Belichick. And there's a theory out there that Belichick is going to succeed Reid. And I'm laughing the entire time reading this going, are you kidding me, dude? How much did you smoke, or how many psychedelics did you ingest, or are you just being an idiot to get more readers? If you did, great job, because I clicked on it. But seriously, Belichick and his, I will say, issues, because this late in life, Belichick is unwilling to change, and the NFL has changed drastically. And I don't know if he would be a good fit anywhere right now, other than maybe an assistant. And I don't think he's willing to take a back seat to anybody at the moment.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we can go into that now if you want, but I'll get into more when we go to the coaches. But one thing about that, you have a 67 Andy Reid. If he retires this year, I don't think so. We talked about it before because the rumors are right. He'll go out on top if they win. I think if I'm a head coach in Reid, he isn't struggling health-wise. He seems to be pretty good. You have Mahomes another 5 years at least, right? Why not ride it another 2 or 3 years, see what you get before you even think about clocking out? And why would I replace him with a 71-year-old coach I'm going to have even less? If I'm the owner, if I'm going to have less time, then I'm going to have a guy like Andy Reid, right? Who has adjusted to the youngness and the Patrick Mahomes type quarterback. No, there's no way I replace Reid with Bill Belichick. Never.
And I thought the Chiefs would have a drop-off after Bieniemy left. They really haven't. I mean, here they are again in the AFC Championship game without Bieniemy.
Yep.
Now, Bieniemy was key, but Reid has done everything he's needed to do.
Yeah, they had a bunch of bump in the road, right? They weren't the most dominant KC team that we've seen. They didn't dominate the AFC like we've seen the last few years. They had, obviously, receiver issues. They had a running the ball issue. And now Pacheco and them are starting to run the ball. The offensive line is doing great. And, oh, by the way, their defense is playing extremely well the last 5 weeks. So, yeah, they're making all the right moves. And again, yeah, Andy rode the storm. He kept the kids in line, and, hey, they're ready.
So I've printed out a bunch of Lombardi quotes. And since we're talking about Belichick and all this stuff, this one really catches my eye. So this is Vince Lombardi. If you aren't fired with enthusiasm, you will be fired with enthusiasm. And looking back at Belichick's last few years, honestly, I think even when Brady was still there, Brady had all the enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Belichick, great coach. Can't take anything away from him. But right now, if I was any GM in any of those businesses that are also football teams, sorry, Belichick. Yeah, we brought you in for an interview just because I wanted to sit down and say that, yeah, I interviewed Belichick one time, but we can't hire you.
Yeah.
Lions at the Niners. We're going to move on. Otherwise, I'll go on Tangent City until next Thursday. Lions at Niners. Oh, and I didn't pick because I can't. Chiefs and Ravens, I don't know what to. Nope. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. There's my pick.
And if I have, like I said, if I have a fake money, I take the home team. Just give me the home team and the Ravens. In the beginning, when we talked to our previous ones, like, how are we going to win divisions and all that, I'd pick Baltimore. I said that they're going to win the North. Lamar's going to have a great year, and he's going to carry the team. I don't know how it's going to go in the playoffs. Well, you got to the AFC Championship. Keep showing me that you can get it done, please.
Yeah.
Oh, and they get their tight end back. So not only likely, they're going to have that other guy, and I can't think of his name right now. I was injured most of the year. McAndrews I don't know. Anyway, another big target for him to get back in this game just in time.
Mark Andrews is coming back?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Because they're still listing him as an IR.
Oh, no, he's back. He's been practicing all week.
Okay. So Isaiah Likely's back and Mark Andrews is back. That's awesome.
Yes. Oh, huge. So,
plus, everybody, okay, I shouldn't say everybody forgets, but you don't hear his name as much. Odell Beckham.
Right.
Odell Beckham.
Yep.
He's on there.
Yeah, and he's definitely not the one that we've seen in the past. He's almost a second target or third even.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to list their receivers. I said we're going to move on, but I lied. Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar.
Oh.
He has had an amazing career.
Yep. And he's been quietly doing things in Baltimore. Hasn't got a lot of the publicity.
Yeah, well, he's only had 35 receptions, but out of those 35, he's averaged close to 11 yards and 4 touchdowns. And and for a 30-year-old that's still playing football at a high level, dude, you can count on this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in Philly, he's been in Vegas, he went to New England, and now he's at Baltimore. And if he can win a ring again, that's huge. Okay, Lions at Niners, 7.5 are the favored numbers for The Niners, unless it's went up here, survey says it is still 7.5 and 51.5. Sunday night game in the home stadium of San Francisco.
Yeah, and the other thing, between these four teams, none of these guys played each other during the season.
Isn't that nuts?
So that's even better.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts to have these two teams in their own division. Normally, you have played each other at least once.
In the conference, yeah. And
in conference play.
I think what it comes before is the 49ers have winning records, so you play the top two teams of the North. So they mostly get Green Bay and Minnesota. Detroit usually in the bottom two, so they always got the other, Arizona and either Seattle, the Rams, whoever it was. So, yeah, for a while, these two teams really haven't had a lot of matchup, especially these two coaches. I think it's great. I know what's funny is both teams, their weakest part of both teams is the quarterback position. Both defenses play great. Their running backs, you can say what you want. Detroit's two running backs are great. McCaffrey, just the one guy on himself. You can add Debo in there, but obviously McCaffrey's the running cow for the 49ers.
Almost 1,500 yards running and almost 600 yards passing. So add that together, that's a 2,000-yard season.
He's the MVP that won't get the MVP. Nothing against Lamar, but I think McCaffrey was by far the guy that carried that team.
Right. Okay, so if you could split it between the MVP and the workhorse, McCaffrey's definitely the workhorse.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Most valuable player in the league. You can debate that until you're blue in the face, but I agree. I think it should go to McCaffrey, but it'll probably go to
a quarterback.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Right.
McCaffrey, you can put on any one of these playoff teams, and they're automatically in the NFC Championship game or AFC Championship, whichever team he's on. If you just pick this playoff teams, just to narrow it down instead of 32, put him on Green Bay, and they probably beat the 49ers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. So he can also line up. So do you remember last year when he lined up and he threw a touchdown pass?
Right.
So he was 1 of 1. He was 100%. He had a perfect quarterback rating.
Perfect rating.
So, he is the Swiss Army knife, as he's been referred to.
Receiving-wise, Ayuk and St. Brown, they both got great tight ends. That Laporta from Iowa and Detroit, great. Now, obviously, we know the guy on the other side. Yeah, to me, the two weakest links is Purdy and Goff. And then the defense, obviously the defense is going to get it done. I think this is a low 20s game, 27-20, 23-21 type game. I think there's going to be a couple picks, and whoever throws the least amount win. I guess that's, obvious, duh. But one guy will throw 2 picks, one guy's going to throw 1, and that's who's going to win.
The odds makers are leaning heavy on the 49ers. But if you watched the Niners before the playoffs and how to beat them, it's to run up the middle a little bit. And if the Lions can lean on that and then get some play action going, you control that clock a little bit. You keep McCaffrey off to the sideline to help you. Debo is hurt. And, I mean, even if he plays, he's hurt, right? So sometimes that can help a receiver because it takes their mind off of, I got to catch the ball. Or my fingers hurt, and they do perfect that game. I don't know the psychology of it all, but sometimes playing a little hurt can actually help you take your mind off of the worry of the game, so to speak. I would love to see the Lions get to the Super Bowl. They have a tough uphill battle here to get there, though.
I love the running approach. You got Gibbs and Montgomery. Josh Gibbs, the rookie that I know Montgomery's been the bell cow this year, but Gibbs, when he comes in, and if you remember the Green Bay game, their drives, 10, 11, 12 play drives, 6, 7, 8 minutes, they were winning the game right into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Detroit has to have that same mentality, 8, 10 play drives, grind that clock, and then hope their defense can make the stop that Green Bay's defense couldn't do.
So I'm sure San Francisco still has that bad taste in their mouth from losing last season's NFC Championship. But if that happens again, I wouldn't cry because it would be amazing for all the Detroit fans.
Oh, my, yeah.
Plus, I can only imagine that Barry Sanders is going to be there, which helps boost their morale on the sideline. So,
can you imagine what Dan Campbell will be like after the game if they win this?
I can't wait. That's going to be some great TV, isn't it? So I'm going to pick with my heart. This one I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Detroit just because I want to see it done. If I pick by the stat line, I would say Niners all day long.
Right. And
but you hit the nail on the head. The two weak links are the quarterbacks. If you get to the quarterback and you frustrate Purdy, he's not the best.
And same with Goff. If you get in his head and make him hesitate a little bit to throw it, he struggles. And most teams, when you talk about making a playoff run team, you have to build around the quarterback. And both these teams that I look at, I'm just like, I wouldn't want either one of these quarterbacks right now, you know. But I'd have to pick the home team mainly because they're at home. The 49ers are undefeated at home in the playoffs. They have 6 straight games now. I get it. They had the last year, but obviously Purdy got hurt early in that Eagles game. I'd like to have seen what it'd been like if he didn't get hurt, if they would have beat the Eagles. So
great point. If you want to fire up your team, watch that Eagles game, and this is what we need to do. We need to put pressure on Purdy. We need to blitz. We need to blitz. We need to blitz. Because they still had McCaffrey last year when they played him, and they got around him. They got around him. One more Vince Lombardi quote: "Success demands singleness of purpose." I have no clue what that means, but he won a lot of games.
So it must have worked.
Yeah. Actually, so another one. "The objective is to win fairly, squarely, decently, win by the rules, but still win." That's a Lombardi quote. So who is winning? A lot of coaches have lost their job, but a lot of coaches have won new positions. I'm just gonna ramble off quickly. Chargers get Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, we know he was going to leave Michigan because he didn't want to face the music for the NCAA penalties that are probably pending. Panthers hire former Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales. That is hugely going to impact the Bucs next year, who they keep on their offense and all sorts of stuff and who they bring in. So once all these other offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators jump ship and leave, a lot of stuff changes.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing that really blew my mind, the Washington Commanders have hired former Warriors executive Bob Myers to help with the search of the head coach.
They're the only ones that haven't filled their void yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of a few, I think. The Titans did fire Vrabel and then hired Brian Callahan, former offensive coordinator for the Bengals. That hugely changes the Bengals sideline then as well. We'll see what happens there. And then the Buffalo Bills fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. That blew my mind. That truly blew my mind.
Wasn't he fired earlier in the season, though, right?
He was.
Yeah, okay.
He was. He got fired after, I can't remember what loss it was, because they were just like, well, we gotta pin this blame on somebody.
Philly.
So yeah, there you go.
It was after the Philly game, yeah.
And then Vic Fangio, former Denver Bronco coach.
Okay.
Yep. And then went to become Miami's defensive coordinator. But remember what happened before he went to Miami? The Eagles brought him in a consultant spot. Well, I think they loved him so much that they fired their defensive guy, talked to him, however they did, and go, hey, come work for us full time. We need your help.
And as a Cowboy fan, I love it because Miami's defense was not that good, especially on the road. Obviously, they couldn't win road games either. And so he goes to Philly now, and I'm not going to be scared of him.
Right. And then the other one, the Rams hired defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. I'm sorry.
No.
The Rams' former defensive coordinator is hired by the Falcons.
Yes.
I said that wrong.
Yep.
That's huge.
And nothing against Morris, but his track record is not good as a head coach for one. He's like 17-30 something.
Neither is the Falcons' track record of hiring coaches.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, Roger, I love you, man, and I'm sorry that Atlanta, and I'm not by no means saying they should have hired Belichick. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying there's some other coaches out there, and the ones that got fired, Vrabel, I won't even go to all the names, none of them got hired again as a head coach, right?
Right.
That did surprise me, not going to lie. I was surprised.
Especially Vrabel.
Yes.
Vrabel didn't have a losing record.
No, but he never had a great quarterback or offense, right? Yeah, I definitely think he could have. Maybe he will next year.
I want to look at Vrabel's track record. Look what he did when he had players get hurt. He still was able to win above a 500 percentage rate.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's not a lot of talented coaches out there that can win after you have 3 or 4 guys, not just 3 or 4 guys, 3 or 4 key guys go down.
Your quarterback numerous times.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing against Morris. Again, I think he should have stayed defensive coordinator a little bit more. Rams defense was good, right? But they weren't elite. They weren't top 5. I mean, their offense carried them this year into the playoffs. They had a good run. They, obviously they had to play they played Detroit, and Detroit beat them. That one surprised me a lot. Belichick not getting hired at all is like you had said earlier. I think a lot of teams, and what's funny is I was just watching before I came over here this morning, and Atlanta hires Morris, and the talking heads are all like, Belichick just doesn't have the sign of the times, and football has changed, and he has to be willing, blah, 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 right? Like you were talking about. Yet, you back up 2 weeks when Jerry Jones decided to stay with Mike McCarthy and not go with Belichick. Oh my gosh, they were burning down the Cowboys. How do you not? This is the greatest coach ever. You have to bring him in. You don't want to win if you don't sign Bill. Now, all these other teams that you had just went down the line of getting all these coordinator coaches, not even head coaches. Okay, Raheem Morris has had a head coaching job.
Yeah, but he was not successful.
Right. All these other guys that are getting jobs were, and the Callahan guy for Tennessee, he wasn't even a play caller. He was just a coordinator, not even the play caller. So, yeah, you don't burn down their house for not taking Bill, but the Cowboys pass on him, and they're the worst team ever.
Okay, so do you do that to rise in the chance of getting the number 1 draft pick? Because why would you hire Reich as a coach who failed miserably, and then you don't even let him finish the season? And I mean, are you trying to tank?
Yeah, it doesn't send a good message to your fans, that's for sure.
It's confusing.
Very.
I do want to touch on the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh.
I think it's a great hire. Probably the best hire out of all of them so far.
I agree.
Yep.
Great hire. And this isn't just the first time someone has left the college ranks to get away from being penalized. Yeah, the school will still get it.
Urban Meyer.
There you go. Who was the other one? Think about this. Pete Carroll, who just got fired from the Seahawks. He did it when he was at USC.
Yeah, the poor guy lost his Heisman Trophy for all the crap that they did, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, what was the joke at some award show? They're like, why? Some comedian is like, why would you go to the NFL to take a pay cut?
Right. Exactly.
When they were talking to Reggie Bush.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so what he did at Michigan. The year prior, before he was there, they were under 500. And while now this is the entire span of Harbaugh, he almost had them at an 80% winning percentage. When he was at the Niners year prior, they were winning at like under 40%. When he was there, it was almost 70%. Stanford, when he was there briefly, the year prior, they weren't even at 10%.
Right.
And when he was there, he almost had them at 60% wins. San Diego, same thing. He helped boost them. So now that was, okay, when I say San Diego, that was college. San Diego College.
Okay.
So now he comes in to become San Diego Chargers head coach. I'm sorry, LA Chargers head coach. That is so weird.
I know. I'm still not used to it. It's been a couple of years, and I still don't have it down.
So weird.
But, yeah, so Harbaugh going to the, all the controversy on the side. Who cares for the college? Now he's moving to the pros. I think it's great. I know all the talk was, what is Kellen Moore going to do with Justin Herbert? How great was that going to be? Obviously not great. So I think it might take, not next year, but the year after that, they're going to be pushing KC big time for that West.
Do you think Kellen Moore stays?
No, he's gone.
That's what I'm wondering too.
He's gone.
I think that Jim Harbaugh being there is going to elevate Herbert's game.
Yes.
And he is just going to be amazing.
He's going to give him insight that he hadn't seen before. Yep. Yeah. I totally agree.
Because he's done that everywhere he's went.
Every quarterback. Look at Kaepernick. Harbaugh left, and then Kaepernick not so good anymore, right? So,
but he also had his back. I don't think that the front office agreed with everything about Kaepernick, and that not just being his play, but his ideologies away from the field. But Harbaugh was his true cheerleader. And after he left, he didn't have that cheerleader, and everything kind of imploded in.
Yeah, and I think that signaled Harbaugh's pushing out, right? He was winning, like you said, winning, had won 8-8 season, And they're like, yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, so yeah, 100%.
So this coaching talk is going to transition us into the NBA because there's a dumpster fire brewing in Milwaukee, and it's not the coach's fault. Think about this. The Milwaukee Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer at the end of the 23 season because they didn't win a title, but they got a long way into the playoffs, right?
Yep.
The year prior, I believe, they had won a title, or was it 2 years prior?
Yeah, somewhere. I think it was a year before, but yeah, right there.
So they fire Mike Budenholzer, right? Stupid in my mind.
Yeah.
And then they bring in Adrian Griffin.
First head coaching job.
43 games into the season, they fire him because what they're saying is lackluster defense. He's sitting second in the East. They now hire Doc Rivers. So here's my tangent. One, why would you coach in Milwaukee right now with the front office having fired a coach that gave them a title, then fired the coach that has them second in the East? Why not look for defensive-minded players? Oh, you're going to trade away your top defensive-minded player in Drew Holiday. Great. Bring in Damian Lillard. Great, if that's what you want to do. But why not look at people like Jaron Jackson Jr. from Grizzlies or Evan Mobley of the Cavs?
Schroeder's still out there.
Right. Or this year's top defender, like maybe Scotty Barnes with the Raptors. He has a D rating of 100, almost 102. Stuart Thompson with the Pistons. I'm sure the Pistons are willing to trade anybody right now. His defensive rating is 112. Now, some of the other guys above that, Joel Embiid isn't going anywhere.
No.
You already have Brook Lopez. He's already a great defensive player. Mm-hmm. But you're trying to change the coach to get better defense when you've already traded away Drew Holiday, who is one of the best defenders in the league. All right? Derek White isn't going anywhere from the Boston Celtics, you know? And some of the other best ones are already with the team that they're staying there. Why not go after Marcus Smart? Well, he's not going anywhere now. It baffles me on what that front office is doing.
Well, you're 43 games in the season, and now you're hoping that a Doc Rivers, because that's obviously who they go with, a defensive-minded coach, is now going to transition these guys into playing better defense. To me, they have a lot of talent on that team. You're mentioning names left and right. Even Giannis is a very good above-average defender himself, right? Damian Lillard, no, not so much, but he's going to give you 30.
Alex Caruso on the Bills, a great defender. He was in the voting for Defensive Man of the Year, or I want to say even possibly the NBA All-Defensive Squad, first or second team. Seriously, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. And getting a rookie coach, I don't know if they're trying to go cheap on salary. But what's weird is this isn't one where, sometimes it's the star players on the team, your Hardens or whatever, sending the whispers of, we need a better coach. It's the coach's fault we're losing. Milwaukee wasn't like that. They seemed to back up this guy. They seemed to play for him. Obviously, they were second in the East, and they'd be first if it wasn't for Boston's unbelievable play right now, and that's a lot to do with Porzingis.
And I believe Giannis, when he comes out in the media and says, I was surprised.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's not that the team was saying hey, I don't think he can get us there. I think, like I said, the ownership is just man, we are just whiffing left and right on what we want to do here.
Yeah.
And again, a change not mid-season, but close to mid-season. And Doc, he's going to have to try to get him to play defensively and figure out the offense. Doc, we love you. You won a title with the Celtics. But since then, you have had numerous chances with a great Philadelphia team, a really, really good Clippers team. And now you have a well-casted Bucks team. If you don't get it done here, then oh my.
Well, another player that comes to mind that's great defensively, Anunoby. Former Raptor, now with the Knicks, and has had an immediate impact. In fact, the Knicks just handed the 76ers a huge loss, and Anunoby was huge in helping them do that. Yeah. Your blueprint, Milwaukee, for getting better defense, in my mind, is flawed.
Oh, yeah, big time. I don't know, and, some of the rumors, and it's conspiracy, because it's his circle, people are saying it wasn't the defensive thing. There was something behind the scenes that was said or done. And that's why he got let go. I don't know. I don't follow Bucks.
Tell your fans.
Yeah, I don't follow Bucks close enough to know what was brewing or what was, in the meetings. But if that's true and you're trying to save face, I don't know what happened. But for a Bucks team, I'm getting a Celtics fan. I'm glad. A little turmoil over there. Let them drop a few more games. Let the Boston pad their little lead in the East. That'd be great.
Right. Bucks and Cavs play tonight, Friday. Great game to watch if you have the ability to watch it.
Are the Cavs still on a win streak? Last I saw was like 7-8 games.
So the Cavs are 26-16, and it looks like they have won at least. They just recently lost, and that was at Milwaukee.
Okay, so that ended their streak. Yeah, they had like a 7-8 game streak going. A 126-16 loss to Milwaukee a couple of days ago. 2 days ago. So, okay, yeah, they're on fire. They did beat Milwaukee on the 17th, 135-95.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be like the rubber match for them get the 2 out of 3. Cavs, man, they're up. I don't know. They're up and down. They're play amazing, then they're not. They go as far as Mitchell and the big guy. They'll be dangerous in the first round for sure.
Oh, you mentioned the big guy, and I love him because he was on the Nets team, and then they traded him, which I thought was silly.
Right.
Wow, my brain just shut off. I can picture him.
That's why
I can picture him. A great 6'10" center, and then Jarrett Allen, and he's 6'9". Sorry, buddy, I said 6'10". Jarrett Allen out of Texas. But yeah, Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley. This team is young and learning, kind of like an Oklahoma City team, which I said 2 years ago, you better watch out for them. And here they are.
Here they are, yeah.
Oklahoma City second and third, fourth, somewhere in there. But yeah, Bucks and Cavs, like you say, rubber match, great game. Looking at the Bucks, okay, so Doc hasn't played yet or hasn't coached yet.
Right.
Last I read, he was finalizing the contract, so I don't know if he's going to be on courtside tonight, but I'm excited for him, but also nervous for him because you're set up for failure.
Well,
Budenholzer was winning, fired. Adrian Griffin winning, fired.
Right. Yeah, and anytime a coach that's not an interim that starts in the middle of the season, the fans are expecting things right away. You don't understand how long it takes to get a system going. That's why football doesn't make changes with a new head coach during the season. You interim the guy, hey, finish the season out. You guys are kind of know what's been going on. Let's finish this way.
Yeah, and he hasn't been there with any of the players, so it should be interesting. So Cavs tonight for the Bucks at home in Milwaukee, and then the Bucks have back-to-back home games. They host the Pelicans on Saturday. Again, if you can watch that, that's awesome because I love seeing what and his name just went away. The kid from Duke, Zion.
Oh, Zion. Yeah, okay,
yeah. Seeing what he can do on the court. So a great weekend if you're a Bucks fan. Got some great games. And then tomorrow, the Clippers. They're playing our Boston team, and that being said, I can't say enough good things about the Clippers. They are gaining traction. They are gaining momentum. They're gaining a lot of glue and gel to hold this team together with all these parts that they've mashed together. And it's coming together, and it's scary.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. They obviously had a rough start. They're 28-14. People are like, oh, they got 14 losses. Yeah, but a lot of those early in the season, it was a gelling thing. I think the rotation is getting down. They're starting to play well together. Paul George is healthy for now. We don't know how long. They've won at least 4 of their last 5. The only loss was at Minnesota. But coming in just beat the Lakers.
And that's weird for me to say it because I love Minnesota. But, dude, Minnesota's really good.
Yeah. And it was at Minnesota. So, yeah, that's a tough one. They just beat the Lakers again. So.
And to beat OKC. That's tough. Mm-hmm. That truly is. Because that's a scoring explosion just waiting to happen.
And look, 127, 125, 128, their last 3 games.
Now, that being said, the last time the Celtics met the Clippers, the Celtics just uncorked a huge bottle of scoring, 145 to 108, and the Clippers were just baffled, what just happened?
And did they just beat Miami 143 to 110?
Right. Can I wake up from this dream? But Porzingis did go down with what looked like an ankle injury, and their game completely changed once he left. Not for the better, not for the worse. It just changed. It's completely different. And I love the fact that Porzingis is working out so well.
And, so I know we're going to be on time, but here, Porzingis, we can talk about the Kyrie Irvings, the Haywoods, who's a couple of these other guys that Boston brought in, these superstars, right? Kemba Walker.
That was a huge mistake.
Right. That haven't really done much, that Boston was just as good, if not, maybe just a little bit better. Porzingis coming in this year to Boston, I think, has put them, obviously they're first in the East, right? Only 10 losses.
And add in Drew Holiday. That double whammy?
Yes. They've been, if I'm Joe and the GM that used to be their coach.
Brad
Stevens, I'm talking with Porzingis, right? Like, hey, we're going to limit you until March, 20, 25 minutes a game. We don't need these, right? Well, we need the wins right now, but we need you more in March, April, May than we need you in February. I would limit his minutes, make him get 100% healthy. This coming back after 3 or 4 games and getting hurt, miss 2 or 3, come back for 2 or 3, miss 2 or 3. No. Let's limit his minutes. Let's get him healthy. Let's leave for the longer, because when he's in there, who do you guard? You've just put the starting five on the thing and you go, okay, who wants the ball this time?
He is almost as good a passer as Jokic.
Yeah.
His court vision is amazing. He's as good behind the arc, 3-point shooting. He can drive and shoot. He can do step back. He can block. Now, when I watched the highlights of last night's game, they showed that he went down. The good news is he came back and sat on the bench. He wasn't in street clothes, and he did hobble a little bit, but I'm hoping that was more out of I'm going to favor it to try to like help it along.
Right.
He is a game time decision, but.
And I think if it wasn't for his health issues, his staying on the court, the talk would be right there with Jokic. It would be them two and Embiid year after year as far as the MVP, right? The only thing that's holding Porzingis back right now is the injuries. Because, when you look at him, when he's in the game, dude, he is a machine. Blocks at the rim, like you're saying. I think last time it was 4 of 6 from threes before he left, right? Something like that. I know he hit several of them. And, I mean, obviously Boston's whole team was scoring like crazy last night. But, when he's in the game, he shoots 60, 70%, it seems like, all day. It just got to keep him healthy. And I said I'd rather have him in March, April than have him right now.
Truly agree. And game changer. Yeah. I can't say enough good things about Porzingis, and I can't say enough good things about adding a defensive piece like Drew Holiday to add to the already defensive-minded Derek White, who can do it on both sides. He can score, he can control the offense, and he can shut you down. I'm also really glad that Jason Tatum has picked up his defensive skills a little bit. Jaylen Brown is really good. Peyton Pritchard is also really good. What has shined most brightly is if Jason Tatum messes up on one end and has a turnover, he goes out of his way to make sure that the other team has a turnover and they get transition points almost on the very next possession. Like, he goes out of his way to make sure that happens. Yep. And that is huge growth for a person that I think in his first few years only focused on the offensive side.
Yeah. And we had talked about when they traded Marcus Smart, like who's going to be that glue, who's going to be that defender. And Holiday has come in and nothing. No, I'm not saying he's Marcus Smart, because Marcus was a different kind of glue on that team. But Holiday is definitely, like White, has come in with, an open mind and blended with Jaylen and Tatum, just like you're saying. And I think it's been great.
One more matchup that I just wanted to touch on is a 4:30 ABC matchup between Joel Embiid going on the road to Denver to clash with the Nuggets and the Joker. To me, this is a must-watch. Now, recently, both of those, the 76ers and the Nuggets, are coming off of huge losses. New York handed Nuggets their hugest, biggest loss of the season, 122 to a measly, puny 84.
That gets me the most, and cut you off there, is the 84 points. To hold them for 122, that's fine. I didn't see the game. I haven't even seen highlights.
Other than Joker, who do you think had the next double figure?
I would have to say Murray.
No.
Was it the
Murray
Orlando
only had
kid?
9. Murray was 3 for 11.
Was it the Orlando guy?
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon. Thank you.
And he was 5 for 10.
Jeez.
Dude, it was horrible. It was horrible.
And they were at home, right? Wasn't it?
No, they were on the road.
Okay.
They were on the road.
Oh, thank goodness.
It was just disgusting. Gordon had 12. Porter Jr. had 5. He only shot 4 times.
Jeez.
Joker was efficient, 13 of 18 for 31, 11 rebounds, but he wasn't assisting. He only had 3 assists. It was such a weird game.
Well, the other guys were missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so he didn't get the memo they were tanking that game? Everybody else was like, dude, we got the memo. I can't tank. I'm getting my 30.
So now on the other side of that, their opponent coming in, 76ers, were just handed a loss at Indiana, 134-122.
Without Halliburton, by the way.
So that was huge for the fact that Pascal Siakam put up 26. He gave them the blueprint on what you need to do to limit, now this is funny that I have to say that, limit Embiid to 31. Limit it to 31. Why do I say that? Because he just scored 70 the other day.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And wasn't that against the Spurs? And my thing with that, I was watching those highlights, and they're showing Embiid get his against a very weak Spurs defensive team. And Bayama got 33.
Yeah.
Embiid, I'm happy for your 70, dude, but you just gave up 33 to a rookie that weighs 75 pounds. 33, by the way.
Yeah. So, fun stuff this weekend. If you're a football fan, love this time of year for all those Sunday AFC, NFC conference championship matches. If you're an NBA fan, oh my gosh, this is a great time right before the push before the All-Star weekend and All-Star, and then the trade deadline coming in February. Yep. Also, college basketball, women and men just hitting it off right now.
Yep.
Great time.
You slide in, like you said, Sunday you're going to get your football fill, and then you're right back to the college games, and you get the NBA Wednesdays, I think, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays now. Yeah, it's definitely a good time. You got a lot of good games to watch. I know a lot of people are down in the NBA, but there's a lot of good games, a lot of good battles out there.
So this has nothing to do with sports, and I'm going to guess you're going to go and give us a Today in Sports. Maybe you're not. I don't know. We haven't. Okay, so this is just weird. This has nothing to do with sports, but I came across this article. A company had a company party, and they were trying to hype up the crowd, and they were trying to do something weird. So they were lowering the CEO in a cage above the crowd, and him and another guy were in it, and the cable snapped or something, and it fell. It fell, and it accidentally killed the CEO of their company in front of the whole company at the company meeting.
Yes. Big arena thing that they rented out to do all this. Yes. I saw that article. I was reading it. I was like, I don't know who did the safety thing or who checked everything to make sure this was good, but somebody missed something.
Well, it was in India. The meeting was held in India, so I'm going to guess the safety standards are a little...
OSHA didn't make it over there?
Nope, I'm guessing OSHA had nothing to do with that, and I feel so sorry for this guy and his family. Oh, I just had to say something about that. Yeah. Anyway, any final thoughts?
I'm good.
Ladies and gentlemen, go watch some sports. Thanks for listening.
See ya.